together in unity, contrasting beautiful Namibia, Namibia, our country. Beloved land of savannas, hold high the banner of liberty. Namibia, our country. Namibia, motherland, we love thee. Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. O sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Honorable Natangwe Tete, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy, Republic of Namibia. Honorable Ambassador Dr. Kairem Bwende, Director General of the National Planning Commission of Namibia. Honorable Kodentia Kroner, Deputy Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy, Namibia. Honorable Dr. Emma Vitalis Obi, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Nigeria. Honorable Jose Alexandre Barroso, Secretary of State for Oil and Gas, Angola. Honorable Engineer Yassin Mohammed, First Undersecretary and Supervisor of HSE, Energy Efficiency and Climate, Ministry of Petroleum, Egypt. Honorable Richard Mavisa Leona, Secretary, Geo-Exploration, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, Kenya. Her Excellency Anna Beatrice Martins, European Union Ambassador to Namibia. Dr. Jürgen Friedrich, Ministerial Envoy for International Hydrogen Projects, German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy. Dr. Kenny Tenza, Deputy Director General, Technology Innovation Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, Republic of South Africa. Honorable Engineer Charles Tawa, Chief Director, Technical Services, Ministry of Mines and Mining Development, Republic of Zimbabwe. Honorable Fumihaki Ebihara, Director General, New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, Europe Special Advisor, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Government of Japan. Distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, esteemed captains of industry, esteemed members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and a particularly warm welcome. My name is Denver Kisting and I'm deeply, deeply honored. I'm so delighted. It's such an immense pleasure to be in your company over the next 2 days. This is the 2025 edition of the Global African Hydrogen Summit. Now, following the enormous and certainly resounding success of the inaugural edition of the Global African Hydrogen Summit last year, DMG Events, alongside its strategic partners, and valuable stakeholders, are delighted to host you once again here in the Namibian capital, Windhoek. Many of you traversed the length and breadth of this planet to be with us for the summit. And I would like us to give all of us a massive round of applause. Thank you very much. We are deeply appreciative of you. Now, we will be convening under the very timely, and as far as I'm concerned, very relevant theme of ambition in action, fueling Africa's green industrialization revolution. Inter alia, we will be taking stock of the strides that we've made, especially over the past year, but we certainly, and that is of fundamental importance, will also hold space for the opportunities that continue to exist and that we need to explore both individually but also collectively to drive this agenda. I'm super excited to be with you, and I hope you are too. Without any further ado, we would like to set the scene, and we will, in pursuit of taking stock of the strides that we've made as a country, no longer host only, but certainly home for many of you. And we'd like to thank you also for your return visit to the land of the brave. We do hope that this time around you've scheduled some additional time. We do hope that you managed to at least pack in a loved one or two in your suitcases to spend some more time beyond the summit here in beautiful Namibia. So as we explore the successes thus far, as we set the scene for what lies ahead, it gives me such great pleasure to introduce to you a fireside chat under the theme Africa's Hydrogen on the Move, creating the global value chain through demand and generation. In that regard, I'm super delighted to welcome to the stage none other than Mr. Johannes Michels, Managing Director, High Iron Green Technologies. Shall we please give Mr. Johannes Michels a massive round of applause? Thank you so much, Mr. Michels. You can take a seat. Thank you. And joining us all the way from Colombia, none other than the head of program, Namibia Green Hydrogen Programme, Mr. James Nupe. Shall we please give him a massive round of applause as well? Greetings to you, Mr. Nupe. If you're able to hear us, a very good morning to you. We do know it's super early. Thank you for your service to Namibia and to this planet.
Good morning, Denver. I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Nupe, shall we get into it right away, please? Speak to us about the latest developments as far as the green industrialization agenda and revolution is concerned.
Absolutely. So first of all, let me start off by saying that I can see everyone in the room, and I can see that everyone is dressed way smarter than I am. This is what happens when you arrive at a destination before your own suitcase. But nonetheless, I'm extremely excited to be here in Colombia, actually. And what we're doing here at the moment is we're trying to mobilize Namibia's share of about $1.7 billion that we now want to bring home and start deploying into our projects, into our various projects that you will actually be getting to know throughout the summit. And so I think really this summit is very apt for what's happening in Namibia. For the longest time, since 5 years ago, September 2020, we've been talking about this idea, but this is the year that we actually start building. So Johannes Michels will tell you about that. I think in a few days, Dalres will be breaking that ground on their ammonia sulfate plant. And at the same time, you've got Alex Savaris and CMB and Cleanergy beginning to break, to actually open up their hydrogen service station, which has now started producing hydrogen. So indeed, Namibia has now gone beyond the realms of dreaming, and it's now beginning to construct, beginning to produce, and beginning to implement. And it's an extremely exciting time for all of us. And what an honor it is for all of us to be alive to witness it all happening.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, James. And Johannes, indeed, what James has just shared with us, we have gone beyond the realm of only dreaming. And in that specific regard, it's been a momentous year for high iron. Briefly talk to us about the highlights thus far, but also speak to us about a very important agreement that is on the cards and that we need to place in the public domain.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much, Denver, for the warm welcome here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to us and inviting me in the name of the High Iron team. So I speak in the name of about 50 people who are today producing a lot of iron and hopefully soon send it to Europe. And this year has been a very, very exciting year for us. So at first, maybe I start a little bit earlier even. In April last year, we started construction of the world's first industrial production of iron at zero emissions. So that was in April when you also gave the start for us and for around about 400 Namibians who built the world's most modern iron plant.
That warrants a round of applause, please.
And the success, many people didn't believe that it would be possible to do this, and also not believed in that it would be possible to do it in the time frame that we achieved that. And I'm very, very proud that in April this year, our Honorable Minister, who is also here today, together with our President, opened our factory and pressed the button to produce the world's first green iron at zero emissions. And since then, I'm proud of the cooperation with the ministry also, because I think it was in world record time that we made an agreement with the world's largest auto manufacturer, the Toyota Group, who would like to, or who plan to use our green iron to manufacture the cars of tomorrow. I think the lead time, and I have to thank our minister and also Menangula, was 3 weeks to have the contract drafted and made. And in Tokyo this year at the TCAT, it was signed with the intention of a cooperation between the Toyota Group, our Ministry of Industrialization, and High Iron, the team on the ground, to scale and significantly scale the production of green iron. So today we can produce around about 15,000 tons of iron. That's enough for 15,000 cars roughly. But the Toyota Group, for example, builds every year 10 million cars. So it is a massive task that we are facing. And I'm very, very proud of all the Namibians, especially also the young Namibians, that we will go this way together to industrialize and to be a meaningful partner to the world. And I think I see today a lot of people from all around the world. So this contract is, for example, also only possible because we have a very distinct and straightforward partner in the European Union, who nonetheless all the global developments stand with the rules of the CBAM, the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. And that is why today the car manufacturers, the big industrial players, look to Namibia, because we can supply the green products without extra costs.
Thank you, Johannes. James, you certainly were also instrumental and part of the high iron journey. What does this milestone, this agreement with Toyota, mean to you and to the program? Very briefly, please.
Well, it means a lot, Denver, but really I think the one thing I'd love to say about this achievement is it really symbolizes, or at least it represents the notion it takes a village to raise a baby, right? So in the room I've noticed, of course, our Deputy Prime Minister is sitting right there. Our Director General of the National Planning Commission is sitting right there. And of course, our Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Industry, Mines and Energy. And I think this trio together with Cabinet and even the President have really guided us over the past 5 years, and we're now organized ourselves even better to be guided over the coming 5 years to bring projects like High Iron to reality. As you heard Johannes Mikkels, to get the agreement over the line in Yokohama required us to work really 24/7 with teams back in Windhoek under DPM's office, all the way with NIPDB as well, and then of course Toyota and High Iron. So for me, High Iron's success and the success of a lot of the projects really has been built on the back of steadfast leadership from our leaders. And the one thing we're looking forward to the most, at least at the program, is beginning to usher in a new leadership at the program, and of course opening up our new very interesting baby we're calling the African Sustainable Industrialization Institute as well, all under the leadership of our very, very amazing government.
I'm very tempted to say you just jumped the gun, but I'm happy you did. So part of what culminated is exactly that. Speak to us about this very exciting development and what it'll mean for our country to be hosting this institute.
Absolutely. So this African Sustainable Industrialization Institute was a vision that was really sort of birthed with our discussions with the United Nations about 2 to 3 years ago, when a lot of our fellow peers from around the continent wanted to come to Namibia and learn about what we were doing. We then applied for specific funding sometime last year with the United Nations, and some of that funding actually went to NAST to start building this institute. But I do believe it was the Mauritanian government that again asked to visit under the help of UNDP. And internally we said, look, we've amassed such an amazing amount of knowledge. How can we put it together in an organized manner and share it with our brothers and sisters across the continent? And this idea and this notion of a continental center of excellence, yes, headquartered in Namibia, but really in service of all of our peers across the continent in the name of advancing the ideals of Agenda 2063 and the African Continental Free Trade Area was then birthed. And so as a team at the program, we've now organized ourselves to really take that opportunity by the scruff of the neck. We've started engaging with governments from Kenya, governments from Botswana as well. Johannes Mikkels actually hosted a bunch of climate parliamentarians from around the world in his facility just a few months ago. And so Denver, this is something I will now be looking to concentrate on more and more in the future, while we of course hand over the leadership of the Green Hydrogen Programme more and more to the likes of Joseph Mukendwa, Theopolina Kapani, the able team that is able to stay at home and still make sure the program is running while the rest of us are trying to bring opportunities from further afield. So I would just argue that for more, please visit our cubicle at the Green Hydrogen Programme. There's a wall there that begins to describe the ideals of the African Sustainable Industrialization Institute, and there's no better person to question or to ask about this than our Director General of the National Planning Commission, who's really been tasked with leading the program and its activities in Namibia going forward. So we're very excited, Denver, and thanks for giving us an opportunity to talk about that.
Ambassador, he's putting you on the spot there. Do we have any idea how big a deal this is for Namibia to be hosting the Africa Sustainable Industrialization Institute and being at the forefront of training sustainability? Shall we please give Namibia a massive round of applause? Johannes, as we begin to wrap up our brief fireside chat this morning, it is important to have due regard to the bigger picture. If we are serious about creating a value chain, if we are serious about creating a value chain not only locally, not only regionally or on the continent, but globally, what role do you foresee the High Iron Project play in creating this global value chain alongside iron, but steel specifically, if we're talking about green iron in particular?
Yes. So I think the iron is really the starting point. It is in the center of industrialization. So every G20 country in the world has a capacity to manufacture iron. And with the press of the button in April this year, we in Namibia have only become the 11th country in Africa to be able to manufacture iron. So I think this is the starting point, and we can see that because the energy basis that we can produce here in our country has become the cheapest energy in the world. So iron is, let's say, the starting point, because we are very close to be competitive with the conventional prices for iron made based on mostly coal. But I think this is only the starting point. We have to create partnerships, strong partnerships around the world, because we cannot do it all alone. We need the partners in financing, in offtake, and so on from around the globe. And I'm very happy to see many of them here, especially also our partners who made, for example, the Oshwela project possible from the BMW in Germany, who were our partners and who are here again today. I think that together we can shape this new value chains. And I am very proud to have so many visitors here today. And as you said earlier, I hope many people stay longer. And we would really like to become the hub, the place where people come together and see what is possible if you think differently, think the value chains differently. And therefore, we are also very happy to invite everyone to come see what we are doing as a group of Namibians producing the iron of tomorrow.
And apart from that, you and your partner and the team, you are all formidable hosts.
Thank you very much. Yeah. That's nice that you say that.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the words of Johannes Michels, Managing Director for High Iron, this is only the beginning. And none of this would be, have been, and will be possible without your collaboration. Shall we please put our hands together for Mr. James Snoepe as well as Mr. Johannes Michels.
Thank you, Denda.
Thank you. Can we please give them another round of applause? Thank you so much. I think the scene has been set. I think we're ready to dig in and dive in. Without any further ado, and let's please be mindful of the very precious resource called time. Indeed, it is precious, but it's not infinite. I would like us to please put our hands together for Dr. Nangula Wanja, the Chief Executive Officer of the Namibia Investment, Promotion and Development Board. Massive round of applause for the good doctor.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Denver, for telling us to be mindful of time. So I will try to be mindful of time. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for greeting me. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Director General, Honorable Deputy Minister, members of Parliament, let me stand on the protocol already observed in order to be able to make sure that I observe the time that is allowed. It is indeed an exciting day and another year that we are here celebrating the journey of green hydrogen in Namibia and green hydrogen in Africa and, of course, globally. And that's why we call this event the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit, recognizing and celebrating the contribution of Africa to green hydrogen and, of course, celebrating the journey that the world has taken in decarbonizing and also recognizing the role that green hydrogen had to play. Allow me a minute or two as one of the founding members of the Green Hydrogen Council that was appointed by the late President, His Excellency Hage Geingob, to just reminisce a bit on this journey. It's a journey that started for Namibia in 2021, or maybe a little bit earlier. But it is a journey that was also especially started by the private sector. It's the private sector that recognized Namibia's potential to contribute to green hydrogen. It's a number of companies that came and approached us, whether it is the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board or the Green Hydrogen Commission or program today, and said Namibia can play a significant role. And you have got potential to contribute because of the resources that you have, and we have got an interest. And being the leader who he was, the late president decided he will definitely take up this call to make sure that Namibia can contribute to the world and can make sure that we take our resources, make that contribution, but of course for the benefit of the Namibian people and for the benefit of the African continent. So it was so fast that by August 2021, we launched a request of saying, is there anybody who would like to partner with government? And fast forward to November 2021, we announced who the winner was. And yes, 2022, journey continued. Namibia partnered with the likes of the EU and other countries in developing green hydrogen and getting the support, because we know that given the resource that we have, we will need many off-takers and many partners. Moving to 2023 in Dubai, we launched this event and many other activities. And that is the journey of the Global Africa Hydrogen Summit that is brought to you by DMG, that is endorsed by the government of the Republic of Namibia, with the support of the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy, Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, and today, as told, headed by National Planning Commission. And we are pleased that our leaders are here as we celebrate the second edition of this event. So yes, last year we had the first event, and today we are here. And it's my understanding that we have got representatives from about more than 75 countries. So let me pause here and find out. Let me see if you are visiting us from outside Namibia. Let me see your hand up. Wow. Welcome to the land of the brave. Let me see your hand up if you are visiting us for the first time. Wow. Okay, somebody should have taken a picture of that one. So we have got actually many visitors that are visiting us for the first time. Okay, now let's see how brave you are to answer this one. Let me see your hand up if you are staying for at least one additional night. Either you came for one additional night or two additional nights just to enjoy Namibia. Okay, we are making progress. You can still extend your ticket and leave a little bit later, a day later or two. They say in Namibia, you kind of cry twice. When you land in the middle of the desert and you wonder, oh my goodness, what did I do? In the middle of nowhere, where did I come? And you kind of cry that you want to go back. But then when you experience the Namibians, you cry when you leave because then you don't want to go. You want to stay. But hopefully you will come back and enjoy much more, because Namibia is not Windhoek. Actually, this is not who we are. Namibia is beyond Windhoek. If you want to enjoy Namibia, you have to go to outside Windhoek. So welcome to Namibia. And we know, as it's been demonstrated today, that Namibia has made significant progress. And I'm sure that our leaders will share some of that progress, and not only the progress, but the commitment of our current government. As we all know that we are having our first female president, and we are now talking about ambition in action. And if you want to see action, welcome to the Namibia under the leadership of Her Excellency, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. That is a Namibia that is demonstrating ambition in action. And we are saying that the journey that we started of green hydrogen, we are seeing action fast-tracked through the development of the green industrialization and everything else that we need to do to support the development of the Namibian economy, to create employment opportunities for our people, and of course, to support the move to decarbonize our planet. The progress that is made today, it demonstrates that Africa can make it work. And Africa can lead when we come together, when we demonstrate our leadership, and when we collaborate. And today, we know and we understand that there's also many representatives here today from many African countries. Thank you for being great brothers and sisters, and thank you for joining us at this event and for being on this journey with us. It also demonstrates that partnerships are vital. No one country, no one organization can do it alone, and therefore we need to collaborate and we need to support each other, because the task of decarbonizing the planet requires all hands on deck. And yes, we know that the world is a global village. There is no way that you can hide and close yourself in a corner. We need each other. Since I've been given 5 minutes while I'm enjoying myself, let me come to to make conclusions. And again, just to welcome all of you on behalf of the organizers, DMG Events, and our host, Damian. Thank you very much for bringing this event once more to Namibia. And Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy, thank you, DPM and your team, DM, for being here and for supporting us for this second year. Director General, the NPC, we welcome everybody on your behalf and for the leadership that you took to make sure that this event is a success. To all our partners that are indicated here, thank you for making sure that this is being pulled off. As I am now walking out before I go down, I would like to help Denver in welcoming on stage the Director General of the National Planning Commission, who is coming to make some remarks. He's Ambassador Dr. Kaire Mbwende, who has served Namibia at various international platforms over many, many years. He's not just a very renowned diplomat. He's an economist and a business person who understands what needs to be done with the economy. And we believe the National Planning Commission, under his leadership, will make sure that Namibia and Africa indeed is able to show great progress on this field. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Menangula. Honorable Natangwe Ifete, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Permanent Secretaries from Namibia and across the continent, Her Excellency Anna Beatrice Martens, European Union Ambassador to Namibia, other members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished industry leaders and innovators, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and a very welcome to you all. I'm delighted to participate in the opening of the Global African Hydrogen Summit 2025, which is attended by representatives from 75 countries. We have great expectations from the summit to address Africa's energy trilemma of energy security, energy poverty, and to build climate resilience. Namibia and Africa have the potential to be at the forefront of the green industrial revolution. We are endowed with abundant solar and water resources, vast tracts of suitable land, and a stable regulatory environment to uniquely position us as one of the pioneers of a hydrogen economy that is able to transform our economies. Director Solomon, ladies and gentlemen, our National Development Plan, launched this year, positioned green industrialization as a central pillar of our socio-economic transformation. NDP 6 sets bold targets for renewable energy deployment, green hydrogen production and value addition, industrialization such as fertilizers, green steel, and clean fuels. Critically, the plan is designed to capture value along the entire hydrogen value chain, from production and storage to local utilization in mining, transport, and manufacturing. Our approach is deliberate. We are not content to be exporters of raw molecules. We are committed to building industries, creating jobs, and empowering communities. These ambitions are underpinned by policy coherence to ensure that there is alignment between the multiple domains of the green hydrogen, such as energy, environment, industry, trade, education, and finance. This is done to avoid multiplication, inefficiency, and missed opportunities. In short, the government of Namibia is committed to ensuring that every aspect of our hydrogen policy, from investment, incentives, and land use to training programs and infrastructure development, is integrated and coherent in order to ensure a just, inclusive, and competitive hydrogen economy. It is gratifying to note that many investors have shown keen interest to invest in Namibia, in particular in the hydrogen economy. We as government will do everything in our power to ensure that your investment yield high returns. By the same token, we seek partnerships that transfer skills, create jobs, and build industries locally. The hydrogen revolution must not replicate the extractive models of the past. It must inaugurate a new era of value addition on the Namibian soil. As stated in the beginning, our people have great expectations from this summit. With us, implore the summit to craft concrete resolutions, actionable strategies, and binding commitments. With these few remarks, I would like to thank you all for coming to Namibia and for attending this summit. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Dr. Kaire Mbwende, Director General of the National Planning Commission of Namibia. Shall we please give him a massive round of applause? Ambassador Mbwende made a very serious public promise to you, our investors. He said the Namibian government will ensure that your investment will yield high results, high returns. That warrants another round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we are particularly honored today to be in the midst of our Deputy Prime Minister, who's also the Minister seized with the portfolios of industries, mines, and energies, none other than Honorable Natangwe Itete, and we now have the distinct pleasure of welcoming him to the stage for the keynote address. Shall we please rise to welcome our keynote speaker?
Thank you so much. Please, let's be seated. Honorable Ambassador Dr. Kairi Mbwende, Director General, National Planning Commission. Honorable Krone, Deputy Minister of Mines, of Industries, Mines and Energy. Honorable Tom Aloendo, our former Minister of Mines and Energy. Honorable Dr. Emeke Vitalis Obi, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Nigeria. Honorable Jose Alexandra Barros, Secretary of State for Oil and Gas, Angola. Honorable Yassin Mohammed, First Undersecretaries, Supervise Energy Efficiency, Climate, Ministry of Petroleum, Egypt. Honorable Richard Mavis Liahona, Secretary, Geo-Exploration, Ministry of Energy, Petroleum, Kenya. Dr. Friedrich, Ministerial Envoy in the National Hydrogen Project, German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs, Energy. Dr. Kenny Tenza, Deputy Director General, Technology Innovation at Department of Science, Technology Innovations, South Africa. Honorable Charles Tuha, Chief Director, Technical Service, Ministry of Mines and Mining Development, Zimbabwe. Honorable Fomiki Abiyara, Director General, New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organizations, Europe Special Advisor, Ministry of Economic, Trade and Industry. Distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, ex-teams, captains of industries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I really try to organize, to recognize everyone, but I'm sure I've missed one or two. It's not deliberate. I should please take it that you are all recognized equally. Please, and I appreciate all of you for coming, all 75 countries. Now, mentioning 75 names is just way too much. It's going to take up the entire time, and it will defeat the purpose. Hence, all of you are recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to have you here in our capital city, Windhoek, in the land of the brave, in the Global Africa Hydrogen Conference Summit. This gathering is a meeting of great minds, both in politics and industries. It's therefore my hope that the Global Africa Hydrogen Conference will be a turning point, a moment where we as leaders, investors, and innovators committed to move from promise on paper and speeches to tangible progress on the ground. At a risk of sounding like a broken record, as Deputy Prime Ministers and Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy, my message to you today is simple. We have spoken enough. We have written enough. Now let us transform our speeches into real results that our people can see and feel. Let us make a real impact in their livelihood, access to health service and education. For Namibia, green industrialization is a pathway to dignity, jobs, and empowerment for our communities. It is a catalyst to breaking this cycle of exporting raw materials and import dependency. Our collective vision must be to process our minerals here in Namibia and Africa to power our homes and industry with our own renewable resources and build a new economy where Namibian young people, women, and workers in our towns and villages are direct beneficiaries of this green transition. I commend the already visible investment in a large-scale production of green hydrogen, which is essential to our country's ambitions to become a green hydrogen hub for African continent. In this area, let us now work on consuming what we produce locally to drive local industrializations, value addition, and the energy security. Because while the flagship projects such as Hyphen Green Hydrogen, Dores Green Hydrogen, or Shivela Iron Oil, and Clean Solutions are achieving a remarkable milestone, our work is not done if the youth in our villages cannot point to the impact of those projects in their lives. We will fail in our effort if we cannot tell our parents in the community level how many jobs we have created, how many young people are being trained with new skills, how women have been empowered to lead in these sectors, how we ensure that energy scarcity is being eradicated and not reduced. Let this conference be a roadmap to answering those questions, not through estimations, but practicals. Ladies and gentlemen, our policies are clear through NDP 6 and our commitment to environmental, social, and governance principle. Yet the true measure of success will not be in how attractive our policies look to investors, but how deeply transform lives of our citizens. That is why I challenge all of us gathered here today. Let each of us commit to impactful, measurable goals we can report and celebrate next year whenever we come together again. We must demand accountability from ourselves and from each other. Each project must be able to point school building, skills transfer, families lifted out of poverty, and communities made stronger. This is the test of leadership, and this is how we will write a new story for African continent. One, resilience, progress, and shared prosperity. Our country is not only talking about hydrogen, but we are also building industry across our sectors. Join us build Namibia and Africa to succeed. Let us match our vision with actions, ambitions with delivery, and policy with impact. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put ambitions in our actions to fuel Africa green industrial revolution. I wish you a pleasant deliberation, and I am looking forward to receiving the report of the resolutions and the recommendation. I thank you.
Powered by hydrogen, are we able to please give our Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Industries, Mines and Energy another round of applause, please? It's a very serious clarion call to all of us. The question that we must answer if we embark on the monitoring and evaluation process is, how many Namibian families have we truly lifted out of poverty? Our policies certainly can not only be attractive to our investors, but at the heart of these policies must be the transformation of ordinary Namibians. Thank you for reminding us, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, that we are constructing, we are curating, we're building a new economy where our grannies, our grandfathers, our brothers and our sisters, everyone in every village across the length and breadth of this republic can be part of, can be a direct beneficiary of this green industrialization. He deserves another round of applause. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister also reminded us that our work is far from done unless young people are able to point out to us how their lives have been positively impacted. And speaking of young people, the Global African Hydrogen Summit strongly advocates for young people, students, young professionals, and young entrepreneurs to participate meaningfully in the hydrogen sector, particularly those shaping Africa's hydrogen future. In that regard, I'm super excited that the next very innovative session, inspired by the globally renowned TED Talks, we will hear directly from young Africans, from young Namibians. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite you to please put your hands together for none other than Feni Ipumbu, Junior Project Developer, Technical at Hyphen Hydrogen Energy, as well as Michael Kluter, Junior Project Developer, Environmental Hyphen Hydrogen Energy. Massive round of applause.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. All protocol observed. Good morning, distinguished guests, honorable delegates, and esteemed leaders. My name, as you heard, is Michael Kluter. Just going to give you a background about us. I'm a junior project developer for the environmental workstream at Hyphen Hydrogen Energy, and I studied geoinformation science at the University of Namibia. I have some background in environmental impact assessments, hydrogeological investigations, town and regional planning, and environmental compliance monitoring for some mining and construction projects. I've also contributed to a few major tenders around the country, namely township establishments and water supply upgrades regionally. Excuse me. Hyphen is the largest project I've worked on thus far, and I'm honored to be part of it. It's the most exciting opportunity and the biggest project of this scale. It's my first opportunity to work on a single development, and I began as an intern last year, moving from a role of learning into the junior project developer space where I manage some specialist contracts and consultants while continuing to learn every day. My colleague beside me, Feni Ipumbu, she's a junior project developer for the technical work stream. She has a background in civil engineering and a master's degree in project management. Naturally, she ended up in the construction sector. Her curiosity spiked. She started looking around for other prospects and ended up in the energy space. She mentioned to me that pivoting into a new industry was quite daunting at first. But as I said, her curiosity was sparked an interest in her, and she saw an opportunity to be part of something bigger than herself. After endless efforts of applying to different companies, here she is today, standing on stage, part of the renewable energy space, better yet, the up-and-coming hydrogen industry. Thank you. This journey is proof that sometimes you just need to be bold enough to try. Changing direction or taking a leap into something new can feel intimidating, but often it's a step that leads to growth, purpose, and impact. Over to you, Fanny.
So just like my colleague Michael and I have had the opportunity to grow within this industry, there are many young people across Namibia who are also stepping into this exciting space. Today we are proud to announce the Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors. This platform, the Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors Programme, was created through the Namibian German Climate Energy Partnership, Hyphen, GIZ, and the Namibia Green Hydrogen Programme. The primary aim of this program is to bring together motivated young leaders from all 14 regions and to equip them with knowledge, skills, and a sense of responsibility as advocates for Namibia's green hydrogen journey. With 71% of Namibians being under the age of 35, their voices and their energy are vital in shaping a sustainable and inclusive future. These ambassadors will act as a bridge between government, industry, and communities in a collective effort to position Namibia at the forefront of Africa's green hydrogen revolution. It is now my pleasure to announce the Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors of 2025. So I'll call out the ambassadors by region, by name, and also by their qualifications. From the Comas region, we have Mandero, Quantity Surveying. Can I kindly ask the audience to hold their applause until all the names are called out? Just for time's sake. Okay, still on the Comas region, Tuli Pomwene, Civil Engineering. Max, Mechanical Engineering. From the Omaheke region, Hidepa, Mechanical Engineering. Pauline, Geoinformation Engineering. From the Karas region, Frida, Electrical Engineering. Emanuela, Industrial Engineering. Hardap, of the Hardap region, Jason, Chemistry. And Hertha, Journalism and Media. From the Irongo region, Ebenezer, Energy Management and Development. Samuel, Environmental Health Science. From Kavango West, we have Hausiku, Electrical Engineering. And Judith, Microbiology. From the Oshikoto region, Lawrence, Industrial Engineering. Sherilyn, Computer Science. From the Zambezi region, we have Martin, Agriculture. Thomas, Civil Engineering. From Kavango East, we have Jessica, Electrical Engineering. Thomas, Economics. Irene, Mining Engineering. From the Oshana region, we have Maria, Energy Economics. Chris, Mining Engineering. From the Kunene region, we have Uzarua, Mechanical Engineering. And Gavipuye, Power Engineering. From the Ohangwena region, we have Susanna, Electrical Engineering. And Benedictus, Environmental Science. From the Omosati region, we have Joseph, Electrical Engineering, and Tekla, Renewable Energy. And last but not least, from the Ochezonjupa region, we have Angela, Renewable Energy. You guys look amazing. Can you give us a spin so we can see the back of your shirt, please? Can we give them another round of applause? I'd now like to call on Irene, who is one of our ambassadors, and she'll give us an account on behalf of them, just of her experience and what she's learned. Irene?
Nelson Mandela once said, "Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that generation." On Monday, during the launch of the Hyphen skills census, Giuseppe Surace reminded that of us. He said, "This is your moment, grab it." The message is not only for us, the 28 Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors that are standing here, but the message is for each and everybody in this room. Because moments are fragile. They only matter when they turn into movements. Distinguished leaders, global leaders, colleagues, friends, allow me to greet you today. Thank you for this opportunity to represent my fellow youth ambassadors. My name is Irene Zinyetu Kabura, and I am a mining engineering student, Ministry of Mines. I see you right there. Maybe this is an opportunity. People often say, Namibia is ambitious. But what we are doing is not mere ambition. Ambition is optional. Responsibility is not. And each of us here carries that responsibility. We carry a responsibility to this democracy, a social contract, to ensure that hydrogen, power, and everything green does not just benefit the mere Namibians, but every Namibian. We transform it into local content. The Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors Program gave us knowledge. We learned about Power to X, about how electrolysis uses abundant solar and resources to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. We learned how green hydrogen decarbonizes industries like shipping, steel, and fertilizers, and how it can position Namibia as a global supplier in the market that is still growing. Most importantly, we learned that hydrogen is not just chemistry. It is a future that can create jobs, drive skills, and give young Namibians like me a reason to stay and build a home. Now we can go back to our universities, our schools. I can go back to Kavango region in Kurenkuru, and I can go back and teach these communities and inspire them. But inspiration without structure is not enough. Namibia's 6th National Development Plan speaks of youth employment, industrialization, and innovation. The Sustainable Development Goals call for clean energy, quality education, and decent work. The real measure of this program will not be the certificates we hold, but how many of us move into internships, how many of us move into laboratories, how many of us start startups, and into boardrooms. How many of us, our ideas, grow into enterprises with lighting our homes, powering industries, and creating livelihoods. Hyphen. Distinguished leaders, global leaders, and partners in this room. You have 28 Green Hydrogen Youth Ambassadors in your proximity today. Let history not say that you trained ambassadors and let them go. Let it say that you trained ambassadors and gave them pathways to lead. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Namibia's story is not just ambition, it is courage, it is endurance. It is the belief that a small nation can lead the global energy revolution. But courage must meet structure, and leadership will be measured not only by the scale of the projects we launch, but by how inclusive and enduring they became. My name is Irene Zinyetu Kabura, and I wonder, I know my fellow youth ambassadors wonder, I know somebody who's watching this wonders. When the gates of this green transition open, will there be space for us to walk through? This is the challenge before us. This is the opportunity before you. This is the test for this generation. May you be great, like how Nelson Mandela said. Thank you. God bless Namibia.
Thank you, Irene. Can I call on the respective representatives on stage for a photo, please? From Hyphen, from JIZ. Another round of applause, please. Shall we please give our young people another round of applause? Shall we please give our young people another round of applause? Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, I'm no longer a young person, unfortunately, but I do remain young at heart. I think the young people are tangibly demonstrating that they're doing all the things that need doing, including seeking job opportunities while you are here at the podium. Therefore, another round of applause, please. In the event that you respond to one of the following names, I'd like to kindly invite you to join me in one of the chairs in front. In the event that you respond to one or more of the following names, I'd like to invite you to please join me on stage. Honorable Natangwe Itete, Honorable Ambassador Dr. Kaire Mbwende, Honorable Gedensha Kroner, Dr. Nangula Wanja, as well as Mr. Damian Howard. In the likely event that you respond to one or more of those names, kindly join me on the chairs provided in front. The sport of running teaches us that if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Therefore, we need to document the fact that this did happen. I'm told that the Deputy Prime Minister is indeed allowed to smile. Thank you so much. Shall we please give them another round of applause? There are multiple photographers in our midst. By a show of hands, have the official photographers done what they needed doing? Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm told that you are formally excused from the stage. Another round of applause, please.
No, it's for them to take with them also.
None of this would be possible without the generous sponsorship of our partners. I would thus like to call on the following partners to please send one representative to the stage, and then in the spirit of healthy living, also re-invite our dignitaries to kindly also join our partners and our sponsors for another picture with your indulgence, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. One representative each. GIZ, Hyphen Hydrogen Energy, Bank Windhoek, the Capricorn Group, Global Gateway, KSB, Neumann und Esser,
Air Products, Namibia Tourism Board, the European Investment Bank, NAM H2O Fund Managers, Rest for Africa, ETASCA. One representative each of those organizations. Kindly join me on stage alongside our dignitaries. With your indulgence, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. GIZ, Hyphen Hydrogen Energy, Bank Windhoek, Capricorn Group, Global Gateway, KSB, Neumann und Esser, Air Products, Namibia Tourism Board, European Investment Bank, NAM H2O Fund Managers, Rest for Africa, ETASCA. The photographer, Opa, means some serious business. Are we good to go? The Honorable Deputy Prime Minister is allowed to smile, I'm told. I have it on very good authority. Shall we please give them a massive round of applause? Thank you so very much to our dignitaries, but also to our partners, our sponsors, our stakeholders. None of this would have been possible. We appreciate you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with that we've come to the end of the official opening. Please take note of the following very important international announcement. Our guest of honor, who is our Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister responsible for the portfolios of Industries, Mines and Energy, as well as the delegation, will now tour our exhibition hall in the company of Mr. Damien Howard from GMG, and the rest of us may grab a very quick cup of coffee. We are reconvening in this room at exactly 20 minutes past the hour of 11. Please look to your right. Look to your left. Kindly look to your left. Kindly look to your right. See who your neighbor is. You're not allowed to return without them. Thank you very much. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the Global African Hydrogen Summit. Thank you so much for joining us after our coffee break. We do hope and believe that your strengths have been restored and we're ready to tackle the rest of the program. We have quite a bit to get through, so it is our hope that we will be able to honor the very precious, but unfortunately finite resource called time. Without any further ado, I'm particularly excited about this session as it will lay bare, again, some of the highlights, some of the strides that we are making, not only as the host country, Namibia, but also as an African continent. So I'll be moderating this panel discussion, focusing on Africa's green energy projects landscape in a multifaceted global energy market. It gives me such great pleasure to call to the stage Honorable Ambassador Dr. Kaire Mbwende, Director General of the National Planning Commission of Namibia. Ambassador, it would be great if you could just occupy the second seat, starting from my left. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. Next up, Your Excellency, Anna Beatrice Martens, European Union Ambassador to Namibia. Just the seat next to Ambassador Mbwende, please. Your Excellency, thank you very much. I'd also like to call to the podium, please, Honorable Engineer Yassine Mohammed, First Under Secretary and Supervisor of HSE, Energy Efficiency and Climate, Ministry of Petroleum, Egypt. Thank you very much. Allow me to also please call on Honorable Richard Mavisi, Secretary, Geo-Exploration, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. Thank you so much. Last but not least, Dr. Emeka Vitalis Obi, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria. Shall we please give them a massive round of applause? Followed by your tea break. That certainly does not constitute a massive round of applause. Thank you very much. Ambassador, without any further ado, I would like us to please get into it. We know that Namibia has emerged as a key player in green hydrogen and renewable energy development on the African continent, and you also alluded to it in your address earlier. Speak to us about the role specifically of the National Planning Commission in aligning long-term national development goals with this green industrialization agenda.
Well, thank you very much. I think, first of all, we have to realize that green hydrogen is not, a pet project, as it were. We believe that it's part of our national development plan. It's a new source of income, and it's a diversification of our economy from our traditional, mining, agriculture, and so forth. And therefore, we expect a lot from that new sector in terms of job creation, development of technology, and so forth. But for us, our role is to ensure that there is synergy and alignment between our overall national development program, because there are specific infrastructures that are needed by particular industries, whether it's mining, oil and gas, and of course also the green hydrogen. But these all have to be aligned, and therefore for us is to ensure that there is common use of infrastructure, common use infrastructure that can be used by the different sectors of the economy. And therefore, as a coordinator of economic development, we have to ensure that all the interests of all the sectors of the economy are taken into account, and they are also integrated to generate value, as it were.
Ambassador, both aligned, but certainly integration are no walks in the park, but fundamentally important. Speak to us about how we intend as a government, but specifically as far as the NPC is concerned, to ensure that that alignment actually happens, to ensure that that much needed integration actually happens.
Yes. In fact, we have been at it. We have been engaging various sectors of the economy, the oil and gas, look at their requirements, agriculture, and we have actually a master plan for what we call infrastructures of the future. And through this infrastructure of the future, that's where you take care of the interests of the various sectors. And they're actually complementary, and you gain cost efficiency by providing infrastructure for the various sectors of the economy. And I think that is really where we are focusing, and that's why this program is coming under us, so that it benefits from our bird-eye view of the entire economy and not just one sector.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Martins, we're so happy to have you on board today. The European Union has been at the forefront, both in terms of investment, but certainly also support. Speak to us about the latest developments in that regard.
Thank you. And before anything, let me congratulate and commend the Namibian government for organizing this conference, Global Africa Hydrogen Summit. It's a real milestone and an opportunity for all the green hydrogen champions to come here together and to reflect how to move forward on this very ambitious agenda. As regards the EU, for the EU, for you and our member states, the 27, it is a priority and a target to become carbon neutral economies by 2050. And so these targets that we set ourselves inside the EU are reflected also in our priorities with our partner countries, and notably Africa. We have a global gateway investment initiative Africa that was launched in 2022 with Africa and underpinned by a budget of 150 billion euros from 21 to 27. So this, let's say, it underpins everything we do in Africa as well in Namibia. And specifically on investments under the Global Gateway, we have a facility that is called European Fund for Sustainable Development Plus, with 26.7 billion euros in guarantees of EIB lending. So, and actually we have just launched a new facility specifically for a more flexible funding opportunity, investment opportunity. But I'd like to focus on Namibia, because that's a real success story. We have several partnerships, green hydrogen, strategic partnerships with African countries, and in Egypt, Morocco, Mauritania, and Kenya, and Namibia. And we're very proud of the partnership we have with Namibia. It was the first strategic partnership on green hydrogen and critical raw material value chains, which we established in 22 in the margins of COP between late President Geingob and the Commission President von der Leyen. And we've come a long way in these 3 years. If we look at what is already happening, we listened to Johannes Michels this morning and High Iron, and but to say how we partner with Namibia on this strategy that Namibia has chosen, the green industrialization, is that we collaborate in what we call a 360-degree approach. That is, we not only provide blended finance to companies like Hyphen or others, but we also provide funding and support for the regulatory framework, notably that is worked on by the team of James Newper, Green Hydrogen Programme.
Ambassador, with your indulgence, may I interject for a brief moment? We run the risk of singing to the choir, but there are also thousands of Namibians tuned in on NBC at the moment who may wonder, what business would the EU have in investing and supporting Namibia's green industrialization agenda, of course bearing in mind that the pursuit is to cater for the needs of the entire planet, not only limited to Namibia or to the African continent. So in layperson's terms, just share with us what business the EU has in investing and in supporting Namibia's green industrialization agenda, please.
It's a very clear agenda, as two agendas. One is to bring prosperity to Namibia, to partner with Namibia on its green industrialization agenda, which is intended to generate wealth, to generate decent or quality jobs, to bring energy distribution to a wider population, to also develop a new trade area, new business. And for us, it helps any country that develops when our partners can build prosperity through partnership. That's a win, because that is a contribution to stability in the world. And we have our own climate agenda, as I mentioned to you, our own targets that we need to deliver on when Namibia can make a very important contribution.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Honorable Mohammed, we're very happy to have you on board as well. Very often, we as small Namibia think that we may have invented green hydrogen, but that certainly isn't the case. And we're here to collaborate, we're here to learn from one another. We'd like to hear from you, which are the key projects around green hydrogen in particular, but perhaps green industrialization in general in Egypt that you'd like to share with us today?
Thank you, Mr. Denver, for your question. First, it's a great honor for me to be here in this beautiful country to participate in the second edition of the African Global Hydrogen Summit. Really, I am impressed by what I see here in Namibia and the hospitality I found from the Namibian people. Thank you very much. It's not clear. Africa holds some of the richest renewable resources in the world, giving it unmatched potential to produce green hydrogen at scale. According to the IEA's Global Africa Energy Outlook in 2022, the continent could produce 5 gigatons of hydrogen by 2030. A volume equivalent to today's entire global energy supply and more than 2,000 times current global hydrogen output. For this reason, in Egypt, which is located at the crossroads of continents and global trade routes, Egypt is uniquely positioned to become a key hydrogen supplier both regionally and globally. We start by setting some incentive frameworks for investment. Egypt enacted the Green Hydrogen and Derivatives Incentive Law in January 24. The law offers a wide range of benefits, tax incentives, reduction in land use fees, and streamlined regulatory measures to create a world-class enabling environment for investors. We have some projects with a cooperation with Petroleum Ministry and the private sector in Egypt, also with some global players in hydrogen. We start to translate Egypt's low carbon strategy into actions. In partnership with Norwegian company, Scatec, and the Ministry of Petroleum affiliates companies, we start a pioneering projects in this currently under implementation for production of 150,000 tons of green ammonia with investments of more than $900 million. The project's company, the Namibia Green Ammonia Production Company, was incorporated in August 23 as a first ever company to be established digitally in Egypt. During Egypt EU Investment Conference held in June last year, the head of terms for renewable ammonia offtake for the project was signed with Yara Clean Ammonia, the world's largest trader and distributor of ammonia. Subsequently, another key milestone was achieved for the project through a signature of the term sheet for the project offtake with Yara during the visit of His Excellency President of Egypt to Norway in December 24. During the same Egypt EU Investment Conference, the offtake agreement was signed of green hydrogen project, marking one of leading offtake agreement for green ammonia across the globe. Thank you.
Now, the strides that you as a country have been making are undisputed. Your strategic geographical location also needs to be highlighted. But what many of us also want to know is, not only limited to Egypt, but as a continent, which are the hurdles, which are the stumbling blocks that Egypt needs to overcome, that Namibia needs to overcome, that we as a continent need to seize in order to unlock the true potential of the green industrialization agenda to ensure that ordinary Africans benefit from this agenda?
Egypt shares the same challenges that the entire world is facing for the development of green hydrogen, including securing hydrogen off-takers and long-term contracts to support investment, technology transfer, research collaboration, and investment facilitation, optimizing the green hydrogen production process to increase efficiency and improve cost competitiveness, alignment of certification mechanisms, adequate infrastructure to connect demand and supply. That's the same challenges that we face.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mavisi, we know that Kenya has been a regional leader in renewable energy, particularly in geothermal and wind power. Now, as global energy dynamics shift with increasing geopolitical and climate pressures, how is Kenya positioning its green energy strategy to ensure that it not only meets its own demands, but also that it's able to become a net energy exporter?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss Kenya's green energy development strategy. I begin by saying, actually, Kenya is a pace setter in the green energy revolution in Africa, and our green energy strategy is built on a strong foundation. Okay, I was saying Kenya is a pace setter in the green revolution in Africa, and our green energy strategy is built on a strong foundation of diverse and abundant renewable energy resources, especially geothermal, wind, and solar. So far, our electricity, 93% of our electricity is sourced from renewables, mainly driven by geothermal. So what Kenya is doing right now is trying to strategically reposition its efforts in developing renewable energy, particularly geothermal, because we have achieved this feat mainly depending on geothermal as our base load that has been publicly funded through our enterprises, KenGen and GDC. But over time, the physical space is being constrained, so we are shifting the implementation frameworks to innovative frameworks whereby we have public entities partnering with the private sector institutions to finance geothermal development so that we have an accelerated development of our geothermal resources. So we have projects lined up in our key fields in Olkaria, about 140 megawatts and 63 megawatts being rehabilitated. We have about 70 megawatts from Menengai. There's a prime field, Baringo Silali, under our geothermal development company, which has attracted key strategic investors from around the globe, from the Middle East, Indonesia, trying to come and partner so that we can realize these projects in a very, very quick manner. And further, we have strategic investments also in wind and solar. So in order to balance off our backload and the intermittencies, also we have battery energy storage solutions under development to try and balance our increasing variable energy resources and our base load so that we have a stable grid. And just to strengthen our position, we have also a very robust regulatory and policy framework. So we have an advanced energy policy that gives clear areas of investments, mainly renewable energy, and also having various regulations to spur the local participation in green and energy development, especially solar, where we have the net metering regulations that offer opportunity for consumers and producers with excess power to plug into the grid.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It's one thing to have a conducive regulatory and legislative and policy environment in place. It's something else for that policy to be translated into action and see to it that the people of Kenya are the true beneficiaries. With the surge in interest, not only in Kenya, but in the African continent, as far as this green industrialization agenda is concerned, how do you ensure that you implement those noble policies to make sure that these green projects are in fact inclusive and representative of the national development goals of the Republic of Kenya?
Okay, thank you. First of all, we have our guiding planning framework, the least cost power development plan, that organizes projects that will be coming into the pipeline. And the policies and regulatory frameworks are anchored, aligned to our national development blueprint, which is the Vision 2030, and the Constitution. And this one has set very clear targets as a country whereby we meet our energy needs and also our climate commitments. In order to ensure inclusivity, we put in place various policy interventions which are provided for under the Energy Act that promotes the local content to ensure the locals are empowered and they get the benefits from the projects. And we also have programs to empower the Kenyan professionals and the small, medium enterprises and our companies to be equipped with the skills and also develop the human capacity in the TVETs so that they are able to participate in the energy projects to ensure inclusivity. And the energy policy exclusively recognizes issues to do with the gender, equity, and sustainable development so that there's clear parity and equity in the participation of our people. So,
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr. Obi, we are very delighted to have you on board. You have the daunting task of striking a balance between what appears to be an impossible balance to strike. With the recent global shift towards clean energy, speak to us about how Nigeria manages to attract investment in the clean energy sector and at the same time leveraging your existing oil and gas resources for economic development.
Thank you for that question. First of all, Nigeria has embraced the global energy transition and seen it as a strategic opportunity to be able to attract sustainable investment, strengthen energy security, and promote the economy for inclusive growth. All this in line with our National Development Plan, Nigeria Agenda 2050. On board, we have a Petroleum Industry Act. And that Petroleum Industry Act broke the sectors into an upstream, downstream, and the midstream portions of our energy industry, which led us to create regulatory agencies, the National Commission for our regulation of the upstream, and also the Authority for regulation of the downstream and the midstream as well. And this has actually helped the investor actually helped to promote investor confidence as well as to ensure fiscal stability in this sector. And at the heart of this, we already have proven reserves of 210.5 trillion cubic feet of gas, with the potential of escalating it to 600 million trillion cubic feet of gas. And then we're also prioritizing some major projects that promotes gas as well, with a pipeline extending from Ajaokuta through Kaduna to Kano and through the Trans-Saharan Desert, which we have already made 86% of that completion. Also, we have a major flagship project which has to do with the Nigerian liquefied natural gas project, where we have Train 7. Train 7 is very, very upstream, very, very upbeat, and could produce up to 8 million tons of gas to our liquefied natural gas capacity. And then we also went into signing an agreement with Total Energies on the production sharing contract. And that takes care a lot from our energy sector in the Niger Delta region. And that brings me to a very important aspect of our embracing the national the energy transition program. May 2025 this year, we launched the National Energy Transition Policy, complemented it with the Energy Transition Plan to be able to achieve our energy access by 2030 and net zero emissions by 2060. But crucially is the National Hydrogen Policy. That National Hydrogen Policy is our own analysis, our own brainchild to be able to enhance and promote existing gas infrastructure for blue hydrogen, as well as scaling green hydrogen for renewables for a long-term approach. We also have the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, where we have already converted so many cars running from fuel or diesel to gas, and also producing hybrid vehicles on that extent. So Nigeria also has the opportunity to host the Africa Energy Bank. And this bank, with a capitalization of 5 billion, is set to be able to help us to produce infrastructure for clean energy, grow the hydrogen market, as well as create climate-aligned petroleum industry policies that will help us come up with clean energy policies for our ecosystem. So in essence, Nigeria is taking advantage of this plan to be able to leverage its gas wealth, accelerate development of a hydrogen-powered future, as well as foster renewable energy within our ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What you're sharing with us is that two things can be true at the same time, and those two industries can coexist. Ambassador Mwende, I also have a question for you as far as striking a balance is concerned. Yes, Namibia welcomes foreign direct investment. At the same time, we have to ensure that our people are at the heart of this agenda. How do we strike that balance between attracting much-needed foreign direct investment and ensuring that our investors are happy, and at the same time, seeing to it, ensuring that our natural resources benefit the people of Namibia?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, there are benefits with foreign direct investments. They bring capital, they bring technology, and they help us to develop resources that we have not been able to do so for a variety of reasons. But that said, we have a policy framework within which they operate. And the issue of beneficiation and value addition now is at the forefront of our agenda, so that we do not continue to export raw material, as it were, and create jobs elsewhere, but these jobs must be created locally. So the idea is to make sure that our natural resources provide optimal benefits to our people. The question is whether it is done by a foreigner or a national. It's neither here nor there. As long as these resources are utilized optimally, there is local value addition that creates jobs, and of course we contribute to skills development and so forth. So there is foreign direct investment cannot be a threat to our national development. It's in fact an integrated part of our national development.
Thank you, Ambassador. Ambassador Martins, you've touched on it in your introductory overview already, but what is the impact that you know Namibia and our people will enjoy based on the EU's investment? And what is your hope for the expansion and the growth of this relationship in the near future?
I think it's above all a transformational relationship. It's a relationship that has a potential to contribute to Namibia's transformation towards green industrialization, with all the potential that it has, that we touched upon, on diversifying its trade, in its economy, but also generate jobs. One of the next one of the next activities we're looking at together with Ambassador Mboembe and his team is to strengthen and expand vocational training abilities. And we've seen the 28 green hydrogen ambassadors here before. This is where we want to go. We already collaborate with a Namibian training agency, and we're soon going to inaugurate another exciting vocational training institution in Erongo region, because that is investments need to go with skills, and that is what we'll be focusing on. And I think that also coincides, marries with the objectives of the NDP 6 to empower youth, to strengthen their skills, and offer quality job opportunities for them. And this is a sector where we see a lot of potential.
Thank you, Ambassador. Dr. Obi, as we start wrapping up our conversation, speak to us about your final thoughts on Africa's green energy projects landscape in a multifaceted global energy market. Your final thoughts, please.
Okay, this is a very glorious opportunity for Africa to embrace. I'm happy that many players in the continent are embracing this policy. I'm also happy that Namibia is taking the lead in this as well. So congratulations to her. And other major players in the ecosystem have to also do likewise. Particularly now, we have to focus on actually building capacity. We have to train future energy experts in this field, empower them to take the leadership. And then countries also need to provide an adequate portion of the national budget as domiciled in the national plan to drive development in this sector, so that we'll come out of the doldrums and have an energy policy and security that will help us drive industrial landscape across the continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Honorable Mavisi, your final thoughts?
Okay, thank you very much. My final thought is this green hydrogen industry is exciting for Africa, and we need to really structure our projects so that we have all that is required, especially focusing on capacity building, financial structure of the projects, and the implementations, bringing together various key players, especially financiers, implementers, and to ensure Africa is able to run across the value chain and deliver green hydrogen and its derivatives to grow the economies, creating new industries, and ensuring food security for sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Food security is always crucial. Honorable Mohammed, your final thoughts at this juncture, please.
Collaboration between all stakeholders is very important. To unlock the full potential of hydrogen production, potential of hydrogen production in Africa and globally. Collaboration among all stakeholders is a key address current challenge of the hydrogen landscape. Overcoming the challenges facing the hydrogen economy globally and in Africa requires coordinated approach that include facilitating long-term offtake agreements, de-risking investment in infrastructure, promoting hydrogen industry localization. Such an integrated approach will help secure green hydrogen investment, facilitate implementation of projects, and realize Africa's and Egypt's vision to becoming a regional and global green hydrogen hub. Thank you.
Without a doubt. Ambassador, your final thoughts, please. Ambassador Martins?
Yes, well, we remain very committed to this path of the strategic partnership with Namibia. It's one of the success stories of the European Union in Africa, but it's still a steep mountain to climb, and we can't let go or be relaxed. We need to all remain focused and committed and put our forces together with private sector, donors, government, investors, developing banks in order to reach the aim of turning Namibia into one of the leaders in green industrialization and helping also other countries, not only Europe, but also in Asia, where there's interest in the Namibian story to help them decarbonize our economies in our globe.
Thank you, Ambassador. It remains fundamental that we cannot afford to rest on our laurels. all hands on deck throughout. Ambassador Mbwende, you have the final word at this juncture, please.
Well, I think my final word is that the green hydrogen, it's a new opportunity, it's a new sector of the economy, and therefore it has to play by different rules than the rules by which previous investing did, like the mining, which was primarily in the extractive sector. I think the question of diversification from the word go, of creating different or producing different derivatives from green hydrogen, such as fertilizers and so forth, but also the development of local capacity to manage this particular industry. See, foreign investment is important, but you have to build local capacity, you have to build local competitive companies. And that is really what we are looking forward in this kind of partnership, so that we also develop a local capacity for the development and diversification. The beauty of green hydrogen is that it cuts so many through so many sectors, from agriculture to mining and so forth. And therefore, to us, could be a very important sector for the transformation of our economy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give our panel a massive round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The sport of running teaches us, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. Shall we just take a step forward for the official photographer to document the occasion? And you may please give them another round of applause. With or without a smile? Thank you very much.
Memories of yesterday swept under the rug, trails of the past uncovered by the wind. We need to realize that we all must share the only way to show that we care. Many more years will die, all because of the land. Many more years will cry, all because of the land.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a very brief break and resume in 2 minutes. No one's going anywhere. We'll resume in 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Hope for tomorrow, only tears of sorrow, the poverty and the unemployment rising up, yet the living standard going nowhere. We need to realize that we all must share the only way to show that we care. Many more years will die, all because of the land. Many more years will cry, all because of the land. Enya, 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 Bahai, Kudubeki. batho ba mokaleng ga bana tiro ga bana mmu re tlhoka go thusana re khaye khumo ena lefatshe mme re sa utlwane enye yona ga ka thusa go ka be go dubegile.
This is the Global African Hydrogen Summit, and we are ready for the next very important panel that will focus on the global hydrogen market creation, stimulating offtake through robust demand generation strategies. I'm so delighted to call on Mr. Fransje van Schalkwyk, Emerging Markets Specialist and Strategic Advisor, EU Africa Business Forum. Shall we please give Mr. van Schalkwyk a massive round of applause to introduce his panel?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having us this morning. It is indeed my pleasure to be the moderator for this panel this morning. And I think, given the small time constraint we have, let me kick off. Please give a hand of, or a round of applause, rather, for the panel. And it is Dr. Jürgen Friedrich from the German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs. Marco Raffinetti, CEO of Hyphen Hydrogen Energy. Charles dos Santos, the Managing Director for Air Products. Mr. Paddy Padamanathan, co-founder and Vice Chair of Zero. Sebastian Budichin, Senior Vice President at CEFA. And Dr. Kenny Tenza, the Deputy Director General at the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation in the Republic of South Africa. Thank you very much. To kick off the panel, I should say that this is probably one of the more controversial topics of the summit. It is controversial in the sense that it is a difficult question to answer, or for some of us it's a difficult question to answer, but also at the same time we are in a place where, of course, the hydrogen market is key for us to really advance certain the projects currently under development. Maybe to kick off, gentlemen, I would allow you each 2 minutes to introduce yourself and maybe say something about what you're passionate about, in particular in regards to this industry, and then we'll do some questions after that. Thank you.
May I start? Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jürgen Friedrich, representing the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy, a role as envoy for International Hydrogen Project. Yeah, this is much better. My job as envoy for International Hydrogen Projects is actually to get hydrogen projects done. And here I'd like to quote that the business of government is manufacturing opportunities. So it's our job to provide the right framework so that the private sector in itself and with its economic incentives can do the right thing. But we are well aware, and the word robust is pointing in that direction. Right now we have to deal with uncertainty regarding offtake and bringing that as a factor, the demand to the market. I just wanted to underline, as we still have a new government and we are, for example, now still finalizing our budget for the current year and next year, the government is fully committed to the climate goals, net zero, as a global factor, but in more concrete terms is fully committed to establishing Germany as a hydrogen and derivative importing country. There isn't and there will not be sufficient capacity in Germany to provide the necessary amounts of hydrogen and derivatives to decarbonize our industry sectors. So our keen interest is to diversify hydrogen and derivative supplies, and that's why we are here. That's why we appreciate partnerships we have with South Africa and especially now here with Namibia. Not fully focusing on hydrogen, but this is right now the most interesting part of what we have in mind as a win-win situation.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Marco Raffinetti. I'm the CEO of a company called Hyphen Hydrogen Energy. We have been working on our project for about 4 years. We're slightly different to some of the other project developers in Namibia, that we're the beneficiary of a tender process that government ran on for the allocation of state-owned land to develop the first large-scale green hydrogen project. We've been working for around 4 years on early environmental de-risking, engineering de-risking, optimization of the project, completing our wind measurement and resource measurement campaign, and we now moved into the FEED engineering design phase of the project. There's a lot of focus on us. It's a very large project. Government has a large aspirations for the socio-economic development changes that a project of this nature can bring, but ultimately we're working to enable the broader industry. Our project is located in the first of 3 hydrogen valleys that Namibia is looking at developing, and it is the highest quality resource in terms of wind and solar. And our first phase project can unlock 20 times the scale of our first project. So we are looking at working together with government on a master plan to enable that vision, effectively creating a blueprint and a framework that is replicatable into the future, because ultimately we need large numbers of these projects and we need the price of green energy to come down, and that green energy comes down through experience and through execution, like we've seen with solar, batteries, and the wind industries, and now the renewable, the EV car industry. Thank you.
Charles?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Dos Santos. I'm the Managing Director of Air Products South Africa. Air Products globally is one of the biggest producers and providers of hydrogen in the existing grey hydrogen market. As it stands at the moment, we've got thousands of kilometers of hydrogen distribution pipelines across various areas in the world, and we've got many fleets of vehicles distributing that hydrogen. And then in terms of green hydrogen, Air Products was the first company to commit to the NEOM project, which you may have already heard about in Saudi Arabia, which is to date been the first project, and for a long time, of that scale that has been committed globally. So our presence locally in South Africa, we're also very involved in the hydrogen business, and we've got the experience, 30 plus years, myself personally, in the hydrogen space. Thank you.
Thank you. Paddy?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Pleasure and privilege to be here with you. I'm a co-founder and vice chairman of a company by the name of Zero BV that is involved in developing projects of scale using renewable energy platforms in several countries, including one in Namibia. We came into Namibia 2.5 years ago to look at the opportunity that Namibia presents itself, simply because the country has abundant renewable energy resource and lots of land space, positioned absolutely in the right place on the continent of Africa, with a deep sea port and a very stable, creditworthy, investable country as a country platform. I came into Zero from a background of over 20 years as a developer of power generation and desalinated water production. So I came into the molecules business on the back of power generation. Everybody talks about green hydrogen and derivatives. Underneath it all, we shouldn't forget that 60% of the cost of producing green hydrogen, it's very energy intensive, is electricity. So that has got to be the foundation. And when I saw, through my previous work in my previous life, developing many renewable energy projects, the cost of renewable energy really coming down very fast, that was a light bulb moment for me in 2019, that electrolysis is potentially a solution to decarbonizing a significant segment of the so-called hard-to-abate sectors. So I had the privilege, I already had a relationship in my previous company as Aquapower with Air Products on something else. So I had the privilege of understanding the cost of electricity to recognize the opportunity and sitting with Air Products and originating and taking that first project, $8.2 billion investment, to financial close and into construction. And I was on the board of that company for 1.5 years before I stepped down to start doing other ventures. So I have a very good understanding of the ingredients that are required in order to produce green hydrogen and, shocking as it may be, to produce green hydrogen reasonably competitively. We went through a very difficult period where post-COVID, everything went up. But now we are at a period, everything is now coming back and getting normalized. Interest rates remain high. These are capital-intensive projects, so the costs will remain high for a while, but the energy costs are coming down, component costs are coming down. So we are now moving into an era, as it was back in 2019, when we started that first huge project because we found the premium to be modest, not massive, into that era. So that is a big step change. That is what encouraged me to accelerate looking at a deployment of scale of a similar scale in Namibia. So we are developing a project that's half the scale of the NEOM project, 500 million tons per annum, 500,000 tons per annum of green ammonia near the port, at the port of Walvis Bay, actually. We are very advanced in the development, and we are very confident of taking that to financial close and into construction before the end of next year.
Thank you, Paddy. Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian Budischin from SEFE. I'm there in charge of building up the hydrogen and clean energy portfolio. SEFE is a midstream energy company in Europe. So we look at a customer base of 50,000 industry customers across Europe, currently based all on natural gas and LNG. So of course they're looking at us, helping them, supporting them on their decarbonization journey. So our focus here is really to see where do we get clean molecules, low carbon solutions to decarbonize the European industry. Besides let's say the customer access, we own quite a significant part of the German pipeline infrastructure as well as the storage infrastructure. And in addition, we are having an arm in energy trading. So besides, let's say, the molecule trading, we are already established here, let's say, other clean solutions like clean electricity trading. We're looking into material trading, especially topics like green iron, which we also heard this morning. So lots of angles we're looking in order to find the right way, and especially on the long journey, the right solutions for our customers to decarbonize.
Thank you. Kenny.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Tenza. I'm a Deputy Director General at Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, looking after technology innovation in South Africa. And South Africa, like many other countries, has put a target of net zero by 2050. As a national department, we have developed national policies such as Hydrogen Society Roadmap, Hydrogen Commercialization Strategy, and other provincial hydrogen strategies to enable to create an enabling environment for hydrogen commercialization. And I think it is important to note that the roadmap is really about creating an ecosystem for hydrogen, emphasizing the importance of infrastructure, production, distribution, and R&D to support decarbonization efforts in various sectors like transport and industry. So in pursuit of hydrogen society, South Africa leverages its abundant natural renewable resources such as solar, wind, and also with a combination of mineral endowment and capabilities to stimulate local hydrogen economy and a viable hydrogen and ammonia export market. South Africa's strategy is very clear. We seek to beneficiate our platinum group metals, which find application in catalysis, for instance, and membrane electrode assembly, etc. And thus, the hydrogen strategy delivers both mineral beneficiation aspirations of our country and decarbonization through an inclusive and just energy transition. Finally, we have Hydrogen South Africa, which involves a lot of private sector and institutions, public institutions and universities, which has developed centers of excellence. These would be in catalyst, for instance, development, infrastructure, and also HISA integrated systems for fuel cells and prototypes. So HISA has made huge progress, and I think in the meeting that I attended earlier on, there was also a discussion about local skills. So as a country, we have invested a lot in the development of local skills to be able to deliver on our aspirations for hydrogen commercialization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that short introduction. Maybe if we can kick off with you, Dr. Frederick. We know that Germany is, Namibian partners certainly, but also partnering with other countries globally. How is Germany leveraging these international partnerships to ensure stable demand creation for green hydrogen? And in particular, from emerging suppliers like Namibia and other countries like Namibia?
These partnerships, I think I have to. Thanks for this question, as this is a core element of actually our diversification strategy. And we truly have in mind to create, we have a joint value proposition for our partners and for Germany. Yes, we need green molecules. However, we are well aware that green industrialization offers tremendous potential to our partners, especially if you look at the successful implementation, for example, of high iron here in Namibia. I think it's a fine example of how our partnership and some funding created a market-ready business model, and this I'd like to see grow. And here governments can play a role providing a reliable framework for offtake. We already discussed the mispriced risk situation, so that financing in Africa shouldn't, especially for these projects, shouldn't be more costly than other markets and projects. So these partnerships are a core element, and I'm really looking forward to, with the input of the conference, to work on additional steps, including risk mitigation, joint industrialization strategies, and maybe a more robust mechanism for offtake. Here, I just wanted to include, not for being polite, our European partners. I think Germany, our Dutch colleagues, companies from Belgium, and the European Union, we all are here called to work together on these elements under the guideline of our discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Marco, I think we've spoken about, and of course, finance is quite key to projects like this, and in particular, to be in a place where, and I think we spoke about it in the hallway just before we came on, that governments and off-takers both want certain promises and certain assurances. So when we look at it from a project developer's perspective, what demand-side guarantees or policy mechanisms are most critical to secure bankable off-take agreements for large-scale projects, and how do you kind of also protect those kind of investments? And I think the obvious example is, for example, the US cancellation of projects. So what is that dynamic that we need to look at?
That's a very, I'm going to try to keep it brief, because that's a deep question. I think ultimately what is looking to be established between producer and consumer nations is a long-term energy trade relationship. That's at the core fundamental thesis that's trying to be built out. And you can only establish those long-term trade relationships if you can ensure that they will be sustainable, they're going to be low cost, and they're going to be low risk. If they are low risk, you can raise low cost of capital. Ultimately, this is a very, very capital-intensive industry. We deploy equipment. We don't have raw material inputs. Our raw material inputs are given to us by nature, but we need to harness that raw material. If you then turn to the consumer side, the consumer market, particularly in the product that we're producing, green ammonia, the consumers are used to buying on a 3 to 5 year contractual term. So they're not used to entering into long-term 15, 20-year commercial relationships, which is how the wind and solar industry has been built out. It's been built out on 15 to 20-year commitments. So we've got this gap that we need to bridge. And certainly there's 3 large regions in the world that are looking to introduce policies to bridge that gap. It's Europe, and Europe is a little bit behind in this policy implementation, so it isn't giving the demand signals to the market that is necessary to create the market. And then you've got Korea and Japan that are going in a different direction. But effectively, for projects of scale to be cost competitive, you need long-term certainty, because lenders need long-term certainty, customers need long-term certainty, producers need long-term certainty. That's how you bring down the cost of capital. That's easy to say, it's very, very hard to do. And we think that there needs to be a strategic alignment on how that is achieved. Europe is looking to decarbonize, but also looking to support its industrial base. So there needs to be, we think, deliberate action around specific industries that are very, very important to Europe as they look to mobilize policies to unlock the importation of energy. It's not just about energy, it's about a bilateral trade relationship. But it needs to be cost effective, and that balance needs to be struck, and is quite challenging to do so.
Thank you. Charles, I'm just going to hop over you. I'll come back in a second. But I want to ask Paddy, the discussion around first movers, the discussion around scale in particular, and how we can use even small scale to really advance the market, or the growth of the market and the growth of demand quite quickly. Please share your thoughts on that first.
No, thank you. So, look, let me take the question on the scale, because there's a huge discussion. By the way, every discussion on green hydrogen amongst all the industry players, Enlighten, focuses on typically 3 things. What is the demand? Electrolyzer prices are too high. And the third one is cost of financing. Okay. But as I already pointed out earlier on the introduction, 60% of the cost of making the thing is electricity. So that's pretty critical. So, okay, park that aside. But on the demand, let's not forget, and Air Products know this extremely well because they are very much in the market, there is 100 million tons plus of hydrogen that is produced and used per annum in the world. That may not mean anything, but let me tell you, the first plant of scale, single plant that's in construction, the partnership between Akopara, NEOM, and Air Products, will produce 250,000 tons. So we're going to need, just to fill the current consumption, we're going to need 400 of those. That plant, because it's the first, and it was done at the time, at that particular era, was $8+ billion of investment. Okay, let's not forget about the demand. There is a huge demand. There are many young people here, but it'll still be their grandchildren who will be dealing with that 100 million. So all we need to focus on is the first few million. And the good news is, as we are finding out, we found Air Products when we developed that project. We are finding it now in the second project that I'm developing. There is a group of enlightened off-takers who are thinking long-term and who are willing to pay a premium. Okay, now, big drama around what that premium should be. Yeah, for sure. If they can buy gray hydrogen at $400, they're not going, ammonia at $400 a ton, of course they're never going to pay $1,000, and it doesn't need to be $1,000. But So the issue is around how immediately. What I can assure you from the numbers that I know, that premium doesn't need to be a hell of a lot too big. Okay, so, and let's focus on those first couple of millions. That in itself means 8 plants of the NEOM size, or 16 plants of the type I'm developing at the Port of Walvis Bay. Then the most important point is about being brave enough to being brave, not just being brave, be confident of your capability and capacity and understand what you can do, and being then brave enough to go and execute it. Most of this audience will recognize the point I'm going to try and make. Many of us may have had the privilege of actually watching the animal migration. If you haven't seen it in real life, probably all of us have seen TV programs, and we have seen, David Attenborough or whoever. It is a very relevant story. So what actually happens in the animal migration? All the animals come to the river. Why do they come to the river? Because they know the side they're going to die. There's no food. They can see there is food on the other side. But yet, for a very long time, they all pile in there and wait. Just like what we are doing, by the way, right now. Okay, some of us, in fact, know very well, maybe we won't die, but a few more generations later, if we don't do anything, the planet will struggle to survive. But then exactly like the animals, we're all looking around left, right, and center. Who's going to be foolish enough to jump into this fast-flowing river with all these crocodiles? But then one does. 2 do. The point I want to invite you to think, have any of you seen that first one, the second one, the third one die? No. They go right across to the rich pastures and enjoy. Now, look, I don't know the psyche of the crocodiles. I have no idea. I'm assuming they're either too shocked. Who's the idiot who jumped? I don't know. Or they're thinking, let me relax. They're all coming. I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. The point I'm trying to make, the relevance of that to this, is very simply this. There is that initial opportunity that we can grab. So I invite all of you to think about, why is it that we are not brave enough to jump and get to that and enjoy that? What I can assure you is it is there. I think many of us can possibly even recognize it and see it. But then we're just sort of struggling to take that risk, thinking, oh man, we may not be able to swim, we may not be able to run, I don't know what it is.
Thanks, Paddy. Yes. Charles, so to kind of connect onto that, Air Products is a technology leading global firm in many respects. How do we use that advantage, for example, Air Products have, but also other companies, I'm sure your competitors have, to really stimulate domestic and regional markets? Because I think what we see is that, and we talk about even the cost of equipment, but also other technology that relates to the industry. Is that cost holding us back? Or is the time now where we can use that technology to help demand stimulation, but also at the same time, Paddy, close your ears.
While we wait for the mass migration to happen, and that's the key element that I think we've got to focus on as a region, is what can we do to create local demand? And work on what we already have strengths on. Build on that. It's a whole ecosystem. You don't have to build the whole ecosystem in one day. You can build components of that ecosystem and fill the gaps when the time is right, when the economics are in your favor, when the demand exists. So starting point, let's look at the very beginning of that value chain, the renewable energies. Namibia is one of the best locations in the world to generate renewable energy. No debate about that. There are some challenges. Namibia is not close to the market. Some of the markets that some of the areas of the world which can supply to those markets are closer than Namibia is. And that has got to be factored in. So only once the demand picks up and the migration starts, to use Paddy's words, they will look further afield to regions like Southern Africa to fulfill that growing demand. It's going to be driven by economics. You cannot rely on subsidies and grants forever. It's going to, at some point, be driven by the economics of what people are willing to pay on the demand side. So just to come back in that value chain, let's focus on the renewables. We have a dire need in this region for grid infrastructure. And if we can develop that renewables and that grid infrastructure, because there are neighboring countries of Namibia that are struggling and will continue to struggle with power supply. Roll out mass production of renewables, roll out mass rollouts of grid infrastructure. And on that, and as to Paddy's words, it's the biggest component of the costs of producing green hydrogen. Once you've got that competitive advantage this region has, once the demand steps up, then you build down the downstream. And when you build that downstream, you also take advantage of local demand. Let's say desalination, that's another element. Desalination will help local communities get water supply. It will help development of agricultural products, maybe focusing on high-value agricultural products that can be exported. So that's the next component of the value chain. And as you build that, do you go to the derivatives of hydrogen or do you go to hydrogen? Well, if you can create the local demand for hydrogen, taking the next step to derivative when the time comes is another step. So how do we create local demand for hydrogen? A big area is either in mobility, where we're demonstrating outside what's possible. It's already possible, because there are heavy-duty vehicles transiting the African region that could be converted to hydrogen. They don't have to be fuel cell trucks, because fuel cells are not mass-produced yet. They're expensive. The local economies cannot. So you can start with diesel hybrids. And then you can start converting much cheaper and creating the infrastructure required to create that mass local demand. And then you build those steps as you go through that value chain. And in terms of the other products that you can generate, like, as we heard earlier today, green iron. Take advantage of the fact that we've got local iron ore sources and we've got the magnificent low-cost hydrogen. We can create green iron here very cost-effectively, build those projects locally. And when the demand happens from Europe, Asia, we will slot in so easily. But don't rely on those projects, because you're not going. Most people will not survive that migration.
Okay, thank you. Sebastian, how do you see the balance between government-backed demand stimulation, for example, quotas and subsidies, versus private sector-driven market creation in hydrogen and green hydrogen?
Well, big question and not an easy answer. I mean, there's always this balance between how much do you need, let's say, the government to step in and how much do you need the private industry to step forward. But if we, for example, look into Europe today and let's look at steel as one example on their decarbonization needs. I mean, they go today from coal. If they go to natural gas, they already kick off 50% of their CO2 output. So that's already massive. Now we require them to go to directly RFNBO-conform green hydrogen, which I would always say it's greener than green hydrogen, because it's extremely difficult to get that currently, to get that at cost into Europe. So if you were to just there and say, how do we get rid of the, let's say, color discussion? And I mean, that has been ongoing for a long, long time. But simply looking at the CO2 intensity of whatever molecule. And that will massively help, of course, on that journey to go from today to reduce the CO2 and not go from today to already green in one step. Simply, this is from a, let's say, supply side, from an investment side, and then also from the demand side, fairly impossible. And then if you look at the current industry situation in Europe, or especially in Germany, I mean, there's multiple challenges. So affordability really becomes the number one key which companies are looking at. And then, of course, on the government side, I mean, there's other topics now popping up. I mean, we had security for free over the last decades covered by the US. We had extreme cheap gas from Russia. We had massive exports into China. So all of this is changing. So there's a huge pressure on the industry, and balancing this out and saying, okay, industry itself has to now go forward and pay everything to become fully green. At the same time, looking at the government, which simply cannot pay for all this anymore. And I think this is really, let's say, the difficulty. In terms of how do we address this, I think we need to look into, besides looking more in a low carbon intensity discussion rather than in colors, we also need to look, okay, how we shift certain value chains. We talked about green HPI. I mean, this can be very, very attractive economically. It's very attractive. Of course, it has an impact in shifting certain value creation in the German steel industry. How much will that, let's say, outbalance with the alternative, with it bringing green hydrogen into Europe, which today can probably only be done with the green ammonia. Then you still look at all the cracking cost, which again makes the whole product very, very expensive. So we need to find other ways of doing this. And then in terms of market stimulation, currently we look at prices that are, again, very high for customers to go into long-term agreements. They're simply not capable of doing this to stay, let's say, in profitable business. But if you look back when gas was introduced, besides oil, we did price indexing. Do we find similar mechanisms that we can imply now to give a certain, let's say, price security on the offtake in regards of green hydrogen, or, let's say, cleaner hydrogen solutions?
Excellent, thank you. Kenny, with your government hat on, how can regional collaboration in Southern Africa in particular help create a unified demand strategy that attracts international buyers and also strengthen local markets, I guess along the lines of what Charles mentioned?
Thank you very much. I think the important thing to consider, especially as a government, and to know also about South Africa, is that there must be a transition from our point of view from R&D ready solutions to commercialization. And these are obviously supported by a robust policy and incentive framework. And that is basically an enabler as far as we are concerned. And to that end, our government has got some incentives that have been put in place to stimulate investment into the South African hydrogen economy and economy in general. And these includes, for instance, we've got an innovation fund that supports SMMEs through one of our agencies called the Technology Innovation Agency. And this is basically used for de-risking technology with a first loss risk mechanism. And we also have got, obviously, your Customs and Access Act, which then it's poised to benefit, give benefit to businesses from a reduced or exemptions in terms of duty. And we also have got what we call R&D tax incentives for qualifying R&D activities within South Africa. And these can be up to 150% for qualifying R&D. And I think what is important for business in our perspective as well, it's a mechanism or structure that we have put through as government in a form of SEZ tax, where businesses that are located within the SEZ may actually be eligible for tax relief, including corporate tax. Normally in South Africa, corporate tax is about 27%. But for these companies located in SEZs, we're looking at as little as 15%. So I think it is important from that perspective. And we are driving private and public sector collaborations. And I'm glad Air Products is here because it's a key industry within the South African landscape. And perhaps, finally, from a market perspective, there is, growing demand from private sector with, a promise of offtake if there are, commercially viable technologies that have been developed through many initiatives that the country has put forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to check with the boss of the stage if we can have 3 more minutes. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Denver. Gentlemen, to close off, I would like to ask you if you could give me one strategy that you think will be most effective in creating demand, to generate demand. Whether it is technology, finance, policy, offtake, whatever you think is the most important thing in your area. Let's make it hard. We start here.
Really, this is one word would be easier, but
the one that you think is most important. Yeah.
Now we already discussed that we have to find a solution for bringing cost of finance down, plus create a mechanism providing the necessary and maybe only limited financial obligation, a mechanism which is not as costly as expected, but is able to provide incentives in the right time. The timing is of the essence. That's something, for example, we learned the hard way. H2 Global had certain timelines, but they, to some extent, didn't fit to the timelines. So this is something we have to address, and we will address. Yeah.
So for me, it's around policy. So it's policy certainty. This is ultimately going to be a geopolitical decision between producer countries and consumption countries. And it's about establishing the trade relationship between them. That you cannot start a journey of an energy transition on an industry of this scale, where the size of investment is of this scale, without having absolute certainty over who your partners are. And from then, the rest is detail. You will go down the cost curve. I'm going to push back against yours in terms of the commodities cycle. Ultimately, there's a merit order of countries that can be like any other commodity. There's those commodity producers at the lowest end of the cost curve and those at the high end. We're in a process in this industry of the high-end cost producers moving out of the system. That happens in every single commodity. You need to be in the low cost. And we are seeing importer countries looking at partner with low risk, high resource quality countries to be partners of scale, so you can come down the cost curve over a period of time, so you can achieve cost parity. Thanks.
Thank you.
So one key element that I haven't put forward that is important to developing a strategy: avoid transporting hydrogen molecules. Because in addition to the advantages that we have as a region in terms of cost-effective renewables, bringing that unit cost of hydrogen down, we lose multiple times over the moment you try and transport that hydrogen around the world. Whether you're doing it via derivatives or hydrogen itself, avoid transporting that hydrogen. You need to use that hydrogen locally to produce the products that add value, that are easier to transport globally. And that's where I know this is maybe controversial to what a lot of companies are trying to do. If you're not using ammonia as ammonia, which you can do for shipping purposes, for powering ships, but if you're using it as a transport medium, it's costing you and wasting you and eating away at the advantage that this region has brought to being the most cost-effective region of the world to produce green hydrogen. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Look, I think time is of essence. For many of us who are trying to develop projects, my suggestion of a strategy is forget about what you read in the past, forget about the detailed work you did in the last few years. Take the time, and it doesn't need to take a long time, as short a time as possible, to understand where the technology is today, where the costs are today, and redo those numbers. You're going to be very shocked. United States used to be a huge consumer. It sucked a lot of oxygen from the world in terms of demand for components, for equipment, for construction activity, for everything, and hype. Finished. The supply is there of all that kit. They're looking for places to put it. So the costs have changed dramatically in the last few years, in the last 18 months. And interest costs are coming down. So by the time we go to a FID by end of next year, for sure we can bet we'll be at a different interest rate regime. So the one strategy, please go back and look at real, not CNN, not nonsense, real numbers, and revalidate the business case and the business models, and you're going to be very surprised. So it's time to act and get into those first few projects. As we continue to do more projects, costs will continue to keep coming down. So we don't need to worry about the future. Just focus on what we can do on those first few projects now.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, well, if we would know the answer to your question, I think we would all do it already. But at the end, what I believe is, it goes a bit into your direction, Paddy. At the end, we need to start, and we need to start maybe a bit smaller than some of the projects we see around the world with huge investment needs. And there's a lot of risk, and with the current technical cost down we see, that's going to be a nightmare for investors to step in. But if I just look at that stage, we have the government here, we have the technology here, we have the projects here, we have midstreamers here. Why don't we just get together? Get the offtaker, get the bank, make a small project happen where you have the whole value ecosystem all together, all getting committed and all making it happen. It sounds that easy, but we are all sitting at these conferences, we're all discussing always the same thing. We have everybody in this room we need to make it happen, so we just need to start. And the more we can share those risks, the more we get the joint commitment, the quicker we can get something done. And starting is probably the hardest, then scaling up later. That's a mechanism we know from, I've been with a technical company before. Once you have the technology ready, getting into cost down is not the problem, but getting it started and getting your first customers. And I think, again, we have everybody here to make it happen.
Thank you. Kenny.
Thank you. In our view, success lies in a few things. Enabling policy, it's already been said. Beyond enabling policy, you're also looking at public-private sector partnerships, very key. And also, it's very important to invest in local skills. So skills development, it's absolutely essential. And finally, also multilateral corporations are key to success. And I think that, having had colleagues speaking over here, it is very critical that it is a big task that is facing us as a globe. And those multilateral corporations are absolutely important, and the partnerships between governments and the private sector. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. and also, of course, our audience and our audience at home for sticking with us and not abandoning us for lunch. So we'll release you in a second, but maybe let me say, as we bring this very important discussion and conversation to a close, a few key themes have definitely emerged. So we're talking about timing, we're talking about partnerships and collaboration. I think we touched on kind of taking it easy, steady, but still be calculated about it. And of course, we talked about policy and technology. On behalf of the Global African Hydrogen Summit, I would sincerely like to thank you for being here this afternoon. I think our panelists really deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you so much, Mr. van Schalkwyk and your panel. Notwithstanding the mammoth nature of the assignment, notwithstanding the controversial nature of the assignment, you executed well. The sport of running teaches us, Mr. van Schalkwyk, that if it's not documented, it didn't happen. And our